Standing by right now from the Buffalo Bills is Mark Kelso. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing in Utica today?
Well, it's just been miserable since yesterday. It's been really rough.
Oh, it has been.
Oh, we had that game in our hands. It was all ours.
7 sacks by the defense.
We were talking last week, if you remember, about when the defense is fired up, this team is in the game. This team has a shot, and yesterday was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, well, in a perfect example as well is that you have a chance.
Yeah.
The defense plays to that level of capability, and if they don't play to that level, you have no chance. It doesn't seem like, or that's the way the season has unfolded. And if they play really well, you have a chance, but not guaranteed anything. But you got to be able to stretch the field a little bit more, and you've got to be able to score more than 13 points a game. I think that's what they're averaging, 12 or 12 and a half, 13 points a game, and that number has to be able to change. And again, they haven't had any consistent production from any of the receiving corps, and yesterday was no exception. I mean, some good plays, no question, but certainly didn't have consistent production.
Well, it certainly got better in the second half until it got worse. So first, on the injury to Josh Allen, do we know anything right now?
Don't know anything other than no one indicated that it was of a serious nature. I don't know if it was precautionary that they held him out or necessary that they held him out. I mean, it was his throwing elbow. Quite frankly, I didn't even see it happen. I mean, it wasn't the hit didn't draw a flag. It wasn't a violent hit, but I don't know if he hit it on a helmet or maybe he caught it on part of a shoulder pad or something. But I'm not exactly sure what happened. But for whatever reason, I mean, he had to leave the game. It looked like it was, I don't know if it was numb or what it was, but it didn't seem like it was. I mean, there didn't seem a lot of cause for concern in the post-game interviews. So let's just see what happens as the week unfolds here. And I'm sure they'll probably say, I mean, what they're going to tell you is they're going to evaluate it today and tomorrow and give it some treatment and then see how it responds on Wednesday and see how it performs when he starts to throw on Wednesday and if there's pain or any discomfort, and then they'll have to go from there.
Well, let's talk about, of course, the big story out of yesterday, and it really was the difficult story, was Peterman. If I'm correct, he's made 79 attempts, and of those 79 passes, he's been intercepted 11 times. Are we looking at the end of Nate Peterman as a Buffalo Bill?
Yeah, I mean, hard to speculate on that. I mean, certainly, I know they have a lot of respect for the young man and what he was able to do in college and his work ethic and the way I think he's helpful to Josh Allen in the quarterback room, no question. But you need a guy that can come in and give your team an opportunity to win. And I thought it was kind of unfolding as a storybook ending where he throws a touchdown pass, he leads the team down on the final drive, kick a field goal and win the game. And I would have been just extremely happy for the young man. And unfortunately, it went the other direction pretty quickly. And the first interception was, I mean, they brought pressure. He threw into the pressure, which typically quarterbacks don't do. They typically throw away from it. He threw into it. And Jonathan Joseph has been playing in this league a long time, and he knew exactly what was happening. And when he saw the pressure, he just sat down and saw the ball, and he was all over it. I mean, it was an easy pick for him, but well timed and well executed by their defensive unit. And the second one, he's just trying to make a play. You don't blame him on that one because he's just trying to throw it downfield. He's running against his body and throws back behind his body. So yeah, it's hard to tell. I know they have a lot of respect for him. I know Coach McDermott has a lot of respect for him in the building. I guess because of his work ethic and because of the way he's conducted himself in practice and just the healthy work that he puts in the film room and all those things. But it's really difficult. It would be difficult to put him into another game. And when you have a young quarterback who likes to run like Josh Allen does, I mean, you're going to have a guy that's going to have to go in the game and have to win a couple games or play to a high level. And right now, unfortunately, Nathan Peterman has had difficulty doing that when he's had the opportunity.
I can't imagine what you get to this level. You're to the level of the NFL as a quarterback, and if you play well, who knows where you could go and what kind of amazing career you could have. I can't imagine what it's like, what it was like for him last night after the dust settled, realizing that boy, he's in real trouble. You can't imagine.
Well, and I, again, I've never met the young man, quite frankly, because I'm not in the locker room, and so I don't know his temperament, but I've heard from a lot of people what a really great young man he is, and a great teammate, and so it's frustrating. I felt bad for him, honestly,
yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of people did because you'd like to see him succeed, and in college, I think he had a little struggles early. I think he went there, if I'm not mistaken, I think he started at Tennessee, and then he transferred back to Pitt. And I'm not sure why he left his first situation, but it turned out to be a pretty good decision because he did some really great things at Pitt and ended up beating Clemson his senior year, which is the year they won a national championship with Deshaun Watson. So that would have been another piece to the story there, beating Deshaun Watson in a game when he had beat them when he was at the University of Pittsburgh. So it's unfortunate. You feel bad for him, and if they decide to stick with him, then he's just got to overcome it. I mean, he's got to. The mental aspect is really difficult because I'm sure he's thinking now, don't throw that interception, don't throw it. When you think negatively like that, it ends up happening at some point. But let's hope that if they decide to stay with him and feel like he can still be a capable guy in a backup role, then let's hope that he can overcome the disappointment from yesterday.
One last. It does seem that the one problem that has been the big one for the Bills all season long has been that offensive line. And again, I mean, especially in the first half, are we seeing any improvement? Because that's part of the reason why they're constantly third and out.
It is, but it's comprehensive. It's comprehensive offensively. I mean, you have difficulty stretching the field, so you have cornerbacks who can sit on routes, particularly when they're playing zone coverage. You have a quarterback that hesitates a little bit and doesn't throw the ball particularly quickly.
Yeah. And
to the first read, the first thing that's open, your running game has last week was a good indication of what can happen when you load up with some blockers and Patrick DeMarco's in the game yesterday. There was some real effectiveness in the running game when Logan Thomas was at the H-back as well. So, I mean, you've got some packages that enable you to do that, and then a couple of running successes is what gave you the opportunity to throw the ball downfield. And that was a beautiful throw from Josh Allen. I think it was to Kelvin Benjamin, about a 25-yard gain and down the hash. And that's things that are really helpful. But you can't lay it on one group. And quite frankly, that group yesterday defensively is fantastic.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney and Merciless. And then they bring extra pressure. And that makes it even more difficult. But, those two guys alone need double teamed on every play. So I actually didn't think the offensive line played that badly yesterday. I mean, I thought they're continuing to improve. And again, it's a group that has never played together except when they started the regular season, and then they still had Ryan Groy in the mix. And so that group of five does not have a lot of snaps together, and they'll continue to get better. I think there's some good young talent there, and hopefully they'll continue to improve, and then the offensive production will continue to improve.
All right, speaking with Mark Kelso of the Buffalo Bills. By the way, Mark, when does Tom Brady stop performing? Because this is getting sickening. It's getting old. And a 200th regular season victory last night. It just seems like there's no end in sight with this guy.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, there's no question that he does a lot off the field to make sure his body's in condition to perform on the field. And yeah, he seems like the ageless wonder. So, let's see what happens. I mean, again, he does a lot to make sure that he's a really good quarterback. I think one day someone said, I remember one time he was having a conversation with somebody or maybe a reporter, and they said, well, you don't look like you're in the weight room much or something, or you're not big, or so how do you keep yourself in shape like that? And he said, everything I do is about being a better quarterback. So whatever he does in the weight room, band exercises, or all the things he does to make sure he strengthens all those connectors between the shoulders, so he doesn't have shoulder injuries, and he does everything he can to make himself better. And he's got a lot of weapons. He doesn't throw the deep ball on a regular basis.
Yeah,
so he's throwing a lot of short to intermediate routes, but he's just pinpoint accurate, and it's great. I didn't see it, listened to it a little bit as we got home and the plane landed yesterday, but didn't see it. But it was quite a battle. I saw a little interaction with he and Patrick Mahomes after the game on just a news clip, which I'm sure he was giving Patrick Mahomes some congratulations as well, because that young man has really had a fantastic start to his
He was a
starting season here in the second year. Yeah, it's amazing. He set some records for young quarterbacks and still continues to look like he improves. And obviously it looks like he's tracking to be a really good player in the slick.
Yep. Great stuff. That was it. Really, it was a great game last night. Again, Mark Kelso, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks so much. All right.
Yeah, have a great week, guys.
Take care, Mark.
You too. Thanks so much. Mark Kelso, Buffalo Bills.
So up next for the Bills, they are at the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts' weakness is actually protecting Andrew Luck. So an opportunity
or
coming
winning
off,
too.
7 sacks here against the Texans.
That defense it's the only shining star. Obviously, look at Josh Allen, and you're like, this is definitely the future of the Buffalo Bills. But that Bills defense is they make opportunities happen,
and they have a chance for another big weekend.
Yeah,
coming up after that. You'll host the Patriots on Monday Night Football in 2 weeks.
Just around the corner.